Welcome to another episode of Bargain Saturdays, and this week I decided to take a look at Santa Buddies, The Legend of Santa Paws. One of those low-budget, films put out direct-to-video by Disney, involving, the Buddies back in the day. This one, I believe, is specifically from 2009, because I haven't been covering these in any order, I've just been jumping through them at random, every now and again going back to them. Have to admit, we'll probably move on to some other dog movies for the other ones because let's face it, I don't want to do too many Christmas movies, in February. It'd be a bit weird. Maybe July would be a better fit. Ed, Ed, and Eddie, Christmas in July. At any rate, we should probably talk about this film. And I'll admit, I'm a bit nicer to it than some others. I know more than a few people have ranted and raved about how bad this movie is, and I'm more neutral towards it. And I knew going into this it was going to be, low budget slop. I mean, come on, it's a direct to video movie by Disney, and it's like the fifth or sixth plus movie in the Buddies series. Like you knew this wasn't going to be very good on a lot of levels, and scripting is one of them. Like the script, when you start to think about it, makes very little sense. Like the movie kicks off with this line that the spirit of Christmas has a barometer that's in the form of an icicle. Yes, a Christmas icicle.
If the great Christmas icicle continues to melt at this rate, Christmas magic stored in the ice crystal will vanish.
I don't know why they thought that was a good idea, but someone went along with it. It's like it's a barometer. As it melts, the spirit of Christmas grows weaker. And that means Santa grows weaker. So as the film progresses, Santa becomes, more and more lifeless. I can make sense, of some of the actors' bad delivery via this icicle, concept. But then, they say, if at least one person truly believes in the spirit of Christmas, it fully restores the power of Christmas, entirely.
Did you feel that?
Somewhere, somehow, somebody just decided they believed in Christmas after all.
It only takes one person to change the lives of many.
It might take a bit of time for it to, get the icicle all the way back down to, its full glory, but it's gonna happen. But it's just like, so you mean to tell me, over 6 billion people in the world, not one of them, not one, believed in the spirit of Christmas? Like no movie. Like, this is why you do not explain the lore that much in these kinds of movies. It's sort of like Highlander. You don't talk about, how the Highlander became immortal. It's like if you start trying to explain that stuff, you're almost always going to end up with a stupid explanation. Maybe not as dumb as one movie involving Merlin where they say magic is the ability to manipulate, magnetic fields, because obviously that lets you summon, the spirits of the dead and stuff like that. That's all it is. Like, just imagine how powerful Magneto could be if he could summon, the spirits of the dead to possess his enemies. Like, he's already busted enough as is. He doesn't need more ridiculous powers. That's one of the dumbest explanations for magic I ever heard of, but it also means the magic in this story becomes highly inconsistent. I mean, it's sort of like they explain at one point that Santa Paws has a crystal that contains a bit of the magic from the icicle in it, but he doesn't know how to control it, so we get random effects that happens when he's around. So, like, some of those stuff that happens in the film, I can, explain lore-wise with it, but, the whole fact that it takes only one person to believe to maintain all of the magic, it just makes the lore hyper inconsistent and unbelievable. And then there's just questions about, where are the Santa cats at? Like, seriously. If we can have Santa puppies, like, where's the Santa kittens? And Santa fish? And Santa birds? I mean, come on. Like, there's just a lot of inconsistencies within the lore that, you really get hung up on if you actually try and think about the movie. Another issue we're probably going to have with this movie is that it tries to do a lot of jokes involving stereotypes.
Let's run the diagnostic tests. New Delhi?
Oh, I'm liking this very, very much.
Florence?
Bellissimo, molto bene. All seems in the working order, Santa Claus. You give me the clearance, I'm ready to roll.
Which isn't that funny, usually, in my opinion. Even while I'm watching this film, I can't say it's very amusing. Like, you're almost a bit surprised by it because it seems a bit old-fashioned, but you gotta remember, this film's from 2009, so, watching it, when in 2024, it's definitely sticks out a bit more. And yeah, we're doing these. This episode's being recorded, months in advance. We're not even over the New Year's hump here. At least when I'm doing this episode. Um, Another issue, I suppose, is we have some really bad CGI in this film, and it's painful to look at. Like, the North Pole shots are bad. The shots of, Puppy Paws and B-Dog dancing are really bad.
I call this the four-paw pop. Into the Boogaloo Joe drop. To the tail rotation for the B-Dog Nation.
Yeah, way to break those moves.
Yeah, I know. I'm the best. Let's see you give it a shot, player.
Okay, I'll give it a whirl, Leia.
I call this the Prince Robin Ball.
Huh?
To the spinning toy top. To the El Bustle Bustle.
To the shiny toy train. Did I bust some moves?
You busted something, all right.
Like, they look so lifeless, and it's such an ugly mess. And they'll just cut between, the CGI and actual puppies back and forth rather sloppily, in my opinion. So, yeah, the movie's got issues. As for the story, well, basically, Puppy Paws doesn't believe, in the spirit of Christmas. He just wants to be a regular dog. So he decides to run away and jumps into the back of a mail truck that Santa has to go around and collect, Christmas letters. Yes, that's a thing, apparently. He's got his own, magically transforming mail truck that has to, go all around the world. And Puppy Paws, rips a page out of the naughty nice list for Butterball, who's on the naughty list for stealing a Thanksgiving turkey and eating literally the entire thing. So he's in the naughty list for gluttony. Yes, they decided to name his crime after one of the 7 deadly sins. Because they felt that was a good idea, I guess, too. I don't know why they went that route, but, whatever. And he arrives, in Fernfield, Washington, looking for Butterball, and eventually finds him and has the buddies try and teach him how to be a regular puppy. And everything he does gets them in trouble as his Christmas magic activates and does all kinds of shenanigans and whatnot. So eventually the buddies offer to play hide and seek with him, and he decide to have a conference behind a tree stump. And Santa Paws, Puppy Paws, sorry, overhears them talking about him, gets depressed, runs off, gets caught by Christopher Lloyd playing Scrooge, a dog catcher who's lost the spirit of Christmas because he couldn't get a puppy when he was a kid, who throws him in the pound. And eventually, Santa finds out, where Puppy Paws went, so he sends one of his elves and one of his dog elves. Yes, we have dog elves in this movie. To go retrieve him because they need him to save Christmas somehow. So, of course, we get to watch the dog run off looking for the buddies, on the grounds that they're probably the ones that know of his last known location. And after they see Scrooge drive by, like, oh, maybe he's in the pound. So they go to the pound and rescue Puppy Paws, who had learned about the spirit of Christmas, from a little puppy named Tiny, who sang a Christmas song. And it's probably one of the best scenes in the entire movie about a Christmas miracle, which was sung by a girl that was 5 at the time, who was also, I want to believe, it was on America's Got Talent when she was 4 for her singing abilities. So that's probably one of the biggest highlights of the movie. That and Christopher Lloyd. But at any rate, after the buddies escape from the pound, because Scrooge, of course, shows up, before they finish their business there. Tiny and the other puppies act as attraction by basically licking Scrooge, because he's ticklish, so he starts laughing and can't, try and go after the buddies until they're way far away. And that's when, the head dog elf confronts Scrooge about, how he's rejected Christmas for so long just because he couldn't have had a puppy because his mom was allergic, and it wasn't, Santa's fault, despite the fact there are dogs that, don't really trigger people's allergies because they don't shed that much. So it's not like Santa couldn't have gotten him a puppy. He just chose not to because he's lazy. So yeah. But apparently that, being told about that awakens the spirit of Christmas within Scrooge, which then restores all Christmas magic. And he starts giving away puppies for free for Christmas, and eventually, delivers Mikey, who's a sickly child, because we gotta have, a Tiny Tim reference in there somehow. Tiny the dog, as a Christmas present, and tries to run away after dropping the dog off and ringing the doorbell. Because he doesn't want to be known that, he gave this guy a free dog, despite telling him, a couple days before that, $300. And he gets invited to have Christmas with dinner with them. And, for some of all that stuff I just talked about, the buddies, pull not Santa Paws, Puppy Paws is a dog sleigh all over the world delivering presents and stuff. So yeah, I probably should have, maybe wrote this out, but I'm getting behind schedule, so just try doing it, from my head, but yeah. I mean, I know, as far as an overall opinion, I guess, real quick, it's very cliche, and the low budget definitely shows at times, and as I mentioned previously, the lore makes no sense if you stop to think about it. But I didn't think it was that bad of a film for what it is, but at the same time, it's hard to deny that this is not a particularly good movie. But, if you pick it up on the cheap, I guess, you're getting what you paid for then. And if you can find it online for free, it's probably not the worst watch. I mean, I've definitely seen worse Christmas movies. Especially one involving, a girl called Pixie Saving Christmas, because from an evil genie. We've done that before, so yeah. Not the worst Christmas movie ever, but definitely painfully cliche and whatnot. Till next time, then. See ya.
Every night I look up and pray that someone sees the sadness in these lonely eyes and shares his love with me. As the night grows colder, we really need to find a way to heal the hope we've lost. We really need a sign. We need to know that there are Christmas miracles